We talked about wheelchair access, and now what is your topic?
Dyslexia.
Dyslexia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. One of my favorites. Okay, we're going to do video. Let me get my stuff out here.
Okay.
For some of the things that we use. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the resources that go along with, helping these students out. Can you list a few of the resources?
Things that we normally do for a student with dyslexia. The basic things are to provide them with either a note taker, a reader, if they need someone to read to them. We haven't had to actually do that, though, in a long time, the reading part, simply because now with the access of the IT information, we can get almost anything they need in an IT format or an email format, and we can send it to them electronically, and their computer can read that for them. A lot of people don't understand that all the computers now have a screen reader on them. All of them. So they just have to find it on there. And then it's not the best screen reader. I mean, I think there's better options out there, but for somebody who has difficulty with reading, using the screen reader and alternative text and that kind of thing really helps them so that they're not struggling for hours with trying to get through the amount of reading that students have to do here on campus.
Okay.
So that's probably the big thing that we do for them. And because they need things in an alternative format, many of those students also have priority enrollment, which allows them to enroll as seniors even if they're freshmen. So we enroll them at the beginning of the enrollment process, so that gives them time to contact professors for the next semester, especially if the professor hasn't turned in a book list to the library or to the bookstore. They can contact the professors, find out what books are going to be needed for that class, see if they can find it already in an alternative format. There are more and more options available just out there in cyberspace to get the books already converted. If they can't convert them and the student purchases the book, brings it to us, we cut the binding off here and get permission to convert it so that we can convert it for that student here on campus.
And Truman is a school that does offer student resources for individuals with disabilities. Are there many colleges like that offer institutional accommodations?
Well, any university that receives federal funding has to provide accommodations for the students. So most universities, even private universities, most of them have some type of a resource area that students with disabilities can access. It's just unfortunate, though, that many students don't understand that those things are available for them, even at the college level. They knew they were available in K through 12, but many students don't know how or where to access that on the college campuses. But we're here. We're here. So.
All right. And I just have a question. Oh, are you the only one who, besides the students, who helps out and who is, a faculty member who can help students?
Well, I'm the only person that works in the Disability Services Office besides student help. I do have a lot. I could not do this position without the multiple students that I have working for me. They provide notes in many of the classes, proctor exams when students need extra time, read the exams to students for students with dyslexia, let's say. So I could not do it without the student help on campus, but yes, I am the only one who's employed for this office.
Is there maybe a need or a talk for more staff?
It's something there's always been talk that might go for a longer period of time. I started out 20 hours a week in this position. Currently, I am in here a little more than 20 hours a week now. So I do have more time, and at the beginning of the semesters, our director has been just wonderful to be able to allow me to come in and actually see the students' needs first in this office, and so we are able to get accommodations up and going a little bit quicker that way, and making sure all of our paperwork is accurate and correct, and all of the things that need to go into this. It's not something a matter of a student walking through the door and they magically walk out with accommodations. There's a lot of documentation that goes along with the student actually showing what needs to happen for them, discussion on what's worked for them in the past, and trying to put all of those things together. So.
All right. And is this system pretty accurate, or not accurate, adequate?
I seem to think it is, for the most part. Now, do we have glitches? I mean, I think every office has glitches now and then. Most of the students, really, we tell them up front, we start out with this. This is what your documentation is showing us. Some will say they don't need all the things that are available on their documentation. If that's the case, none of it is ever chiseled in stone. So, if you get started in the semester and something comes up, come back and talk to me, and then let's work it out. Let's make sure that, we get the things that we need in place for that student to have a level playing field with other students in the classroom. So there are times when I have students the last 2 or 3 weeks of class who actually say, I never did this before, but I've really been struggling and I should have done it earlier. And they'll come in and get started, and it may not be something that saves them or they have a really good GPA then that semester, but it puts everything in place so that the following semester they tend to be able to, start right from the beginning and do much better.
Okay, so, and now with dyslexia, can you explain to me what the demo kit is?
Sure. The kit, we do some things with color. We found that color works really well for about half of the students with dyslexia. And those students, we kind of look at, they're like color overlays that you would use on an overhead projector, multiple colors. There's about 24 of them in here. And we use these with the students and their ability to read. For many of the students, for example, we'll have students come in that will tell us that they have difficulty with reading, let's say, this kind of a paper. So we will take paper and we'll put the different colors on top of white and let them kind of pick and choose what seems to work the best for them. Many of our students will tell us that when they have dyslexia, sometimes letters are reversed. Sometimes lines actually drop down into the line that they're trying to read, or jump up from lower lines. And this helps them so that the lines stay where they're supposed to stay, and they only have one line to read them.
Just with the colors.
Just with the color. And this is such a great way for that student to be independent, feel good about themselves. They can read where they've never been able to read before, or read well before. Many students, it would take them hours to read 15 or 20 pages of reading, and by the time they were done, they were frustrated and really weren't sure what they had just read. We have students now, one of the first students that I worked with the color, and she's already graduated now and has a job, and she's so excited. She buys these things, buy a whole pack at one time. But when she first came to me, she said that she could only read about 15 pages a night. So she was becoming really frustrated with the amount of reading that she had to do here on campus. She started with the color, and the first night, we found a color in here that seemed to work for her, and I sent the little piece home with her that night, and she came back in the next morning in tears. She had read 150 pages in one evening, and she had never in her life been able to read more than 15 or 20 pages a night. So she was very excited and very sold on this. And it's not something I make any money off. They order this, off the internet. They order it from the company that provides it, and but it is a great way for students who have some reading difficulties, if it works for them, and it doesn't work for everybody. So if it works for them, it is a great plus for them to be able to be independent and do it themselves. So,
of course. And does it, when they choose a color, is it just one color that works for them, or do they swap between?
Some students have maybe 2 or 3 colors that work for them. Others have very specific colors, one color that works for them, and one color only. Currently, I have a student that has 5 lines that converge into one when they read. When they use their color overlay, one line, straight across, no problem. That person has also gotten pretty techie and had someone change their computer screen to match the color that they use, and then that color now allows them to read their computer without any problems as well.
That's really interesting.
It is.
Do you happen to know the background behind why that happens for them?
Personally, no, I don't. I've talked to the woman who has used this system at several of the conferences. In fact, she's the one who kind of got me started on this. I have a son with dyslexia, and that's how I actually came about looking for this information to begin with, was for my own son. And when it worked for him, I thought, wow, this could work for some of our students at Truman too. My son wasn't even in college at that time, and so I thought this could work for some of our students at Truman, and it has worked for several students here. Some it doesn't work for, and that's okay. But the ones that it does, boy, it's a big help.
Yeah, it's rather unfortunate because they obviously have the aptitude, but they do have this.
So then if they can't do that with the color, then we will find another way for that to work for them. We'll go ahead and continue to find their books in an alternative format. In fact, many of these students still get their books in an alternative format, just because sometimes it's easier. They're auditory learners already because they didn't learn it from reading it. So by nature, many of them are auditory learners. So they do learn very quickly with hearing it from their computer. And the nice thing that is when you use your computer, you can turn the speed up on speed at which the computer reads out loud. So it can go from slow, and the better you get at listening, the faster you can make that go. So you can really be a speed reader by the time that you're done with the program on the computer. Now, our blind students and our low vision students also use the computer reader that helps them as well.
Okay.
So very few of our students that have any sight issues are using Braille anymore. So they're using the computer and the software as well.
Okay. And is that it's free when it's on the school's computers, correct?
Well, any computer that comes out today has a built-in screen reader on it. If you go to the Start tab and you go up to Accessibility, it's under the Accessibility tab. Mm-hmm.
That's good to know. Mm-hmm. I'll check it out online and see if it has.
Yeah, it's there, and it'll read your computer screen to you, or whatever you have up on your computer. There are better programs. We do have some of the better programs on a few of our computers on campus, especially for our low vision students. It's a program called JAWS, and it's a screen reader.
Yeah, I think one of the students I was talking to had mentioned JAWS, and she was telling me about that.
Yeah, it's a good program. So, but this has worked really well for a lot of our students with dyslexia.
Okay. And are there other things in the demo kit that...
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I can show you some of the things that what the students, what they would normally see, and how color makes a difference to what the student actually sees once they use color.
Oh.
So it does make a big difference in, when they're using color, when they're not using color. Can they get it straight? Can they get it straight? Numbers. Oftentimes students will turn around numbers too, so there's also number. I can give you the information for talking to Dorothy Henson Parker. She's the lady who put this all together and does this.
Sure.
She's got a website. You can go to that. You can call her.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So those are some of the things that we do with our students in here. If there are other things that they have used in the past that work for them, then we try to incorporate those. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. They already know what works. We just want to make sure that we can continue those kinds of services for them.
This is a lot of fun, I have to say. This is like a lot that I wouldn't know, just offhand.
This is very rewarding. I mean, the job that I do here is just phenomenal.
And it's part-time, did you say? Is that correct?
Well, I work for the university full-time. I mean, I'm a 40-hour-a-week employee, but I'm also a registered nurse. So I do that part-time in the clinic, and then the rest of the time is spent in here. So.
And what's the hardest part about your day and the most rewarding?
Hardest part of my day is probably not enough hours in the day to get everything done. I'm often here many days after we normally would get off, and I'm still here working on things. But I don't seem to mind that. I just love working with the students that I work with. My clients are just phenomenal. Just phenomenal people and students, and they do well, and I'm just thrilled to play a little part in their success here.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.